Right, class is in session. I'm going to do a quick breakdown video of this gentleman here, Jeremy Meeks. Seems like a real cool dude. Um, and he is known as the hot felon, the prison bae, the blue-eyed bandit, the sexy convict, whatever you want to call him. But I want to do a breakdown on this. I think it's a good example of women don't have morality. And I say men don't either, but we'll focus on women, because we're here trying to make relationships between men and women better. But there is no morality. Women say they want the honest guy, they want the loyal guy, they want the kind guy, they want the gentleman. Yet 300 women a day were sending him letters because of the way he looked. Your looks matter. They're the most important thing as far as relationship success goes. Not saying it's the only thing. You need to have everything. You should be well versed in social skills. You need to have a good ambition. And just a good mindset, obviously. But your behavior should be confident and calm. But again, your looks do matter. People that say looks don't matter, they're absolutely ridiculous to say that. So we often say, looks, money, status, all this stuff, and usually people that like are successful with money, they'll say money's the most important. People who like to work out and are in the gym a lot, they'll say looks the most important, and people who have status, like status is the most important. So, oftentimes, what you're saying is the most important is what you're good at, and that's fine. But at the end of the day, there is no comparison to looks. It's just, there's none. Now, men, you need to have the behavior, because to have sexual attraction for a man, you have to have it needs to be looks and behavior. So just know that. But your looks will get you far. They will get you very far. And I will mention one thing about this gentleman. Leanness. He's a lean gentleman, probably naturally, but gentlemen, you need to be in shape. You need to be lean. That will make your face look the best. That's just simple and easy. But don't get triggered. A lot of guys with ego will get triggered. A lot of guys with ego, and a lot of guys that have big egos and or are insecure will say, that guy can't even spell alpha. He's a felon. I'm so much better than he is. You have a lot of guys out here that are beta males that are saying, he's a felon. Worthless, and I'm so much better than him. I got a great job. I got a good car. I'm a, member of the, what they call that, anyway, chambers. I'm a member of the Chambers of Commerce. I'm a pastor in my local church, a youth minister. And they want a virtue signal, or they want to say how much better they are than people. But at the end of the day, women aren't attracted to them. And so anyway, if you want to have success in dating, and if you want to have success in having sex, yeah, you can't worry about how smart you are. You can't worry about how moral you are. Women don't care if you're hot and you're sexy. That wins the day. So again, and this, I want to show that with this. This video will also show women do chase. Watch the key points I talk about in this video. He's chased by women. 300 letters a day. His first wife, it chased him. She sent him a letter in prison. So, and she worked at the prison. She knew he had no money. She knew he had no status. She knew he probably was a little bit of an immoral guy at that time because he was a prisoner. Again, I say at that time, Anyway, let's watch this and we'll comment on it.
On every channel. The hot felon, sexy convict, the blue-eyed bandit. I didn't know what I was getting 300 letters a day. Random people coming up to visit. I'm still getting movie opportunities. While I was in the feds, I signed a deal with then the hate came from the correctional officers. My father caught a life sentence for murder when I was 9 months old. Murdered my mom's best friend. He was coming back to get me and my brother. And we had moved when he got out of jail.
He was coming back to?
Just to come take us.
Oh, okay.
And when he got out of jail, he went back to the place where he knew we lived and we had moved. He didn't know where we were. And so he went to my mom's best friend, knowing that she would know. And
she wouldn't say?
Yeah, she wouldn't say.
Okay.
She wouldn't say, and he murdered her. Not knowing that we had rented the apartment right above. And so growing up my entire life without my father in my life was, it was what it was. But I had my older brother and my mom and my sisters. I realized, young, that the DNA is strong.
Yeah, that does matter. So let's move forward. He had a tough childhood. He talked about how he was a gang member, was doing a lot of crimes, didn't have any fatherly supervision. But I'm going to go to the point where he's meeting his wife. And this is going to show you, number one, two things I want to point out. His positivity towards women. Champions do not complain. I'm sure he's had pretty privilege, like women have pretty privilege, so do men. Handsome privilege, whatever you want to call it. And he has a real good attitude towards women, because if you're complaining about women, calling them 304s, and you're calling them losers, and you don't want to chase these women, and you're done, you're going to do prostitutes from now. This guy has a real good attitude towards women. Just listen how he talks about women. And number two is listen how women will chase you, and understand that if a woman won't come and meet you 30 minutes, or she won't even text you after you give her your phone number, she gives you hers right back. That's not a woman that likes you, not a woman that has enough interest. Watch what women do when they're interested in you. That's what you need to pay attention to in this.
We were there for 2 weeks. Then while I was at Tracy, mind you, I knew I wasn't going to have a long sentence.
Okay.
I know I'm getting out in probably 6-7 months. And so I'm like, damn, this sounds like I'm hitting the bank. But this is when I met my wife in prison. She was my nurse. She passed out my medication. Well, now ex-wife.
Right.
But yeah, I met my ex-wife in prison. And she saved my life, because I didn't have to rob a bank.
Right.
So, you hear that? And to ladies too, that want to say their husband's a narcissist and he cheated on her, and it never sounds good when you talk bad about somebody. And look what he said, this woman saved his life. It never sounds good when you have a negative Nancy attitude. So gentlemen, champions don't complain.
I'm in so.
All right, let's go.
How does that meeting go? Like you go into are you in pill line and
No, I saw her in pill line, and funny enough that she is actually how I found out about.
yeah about the podcast.
Yeah.
That's right. Well, we've had a few guys that have kind of hooked up, obviously with female guards, but
Apparently it's not just him. Again, morality, honesty, you're a loser, no status, I need money, I take better pictures on your Instagram. Women will date felons. It's not about morality, it's about sexuality. Air, water, food, sex.
we had the one guy who kind of like this. He actually was flirting with the female guard, and he was getting out, and she was going to do something completely. Like she's like, I can't do this anymore. She had been going to a school to be a dental technician or something, and she was going to go do that because she just had been doing this for a couple of years. She was like, this is not for me. And so they had been semi-flirting, and he says to her, he goes, and I could get fucked up for this. He's like, first, even suggesting this.
Taking a risk. Food, water, air, sexuality runs right behind those basic needs. Okay, it's a very strong instinctual urge for both men and women. You see both these people are taking a risk. And number two is the man's law 28, enter action with boldness. He's being bold, he's taking a risk. So men, wherever men and women are, there will be sexuality going on. Whether it be in a courtroom between law enforcement and judges, or law enforcement and prosecutors and judges, doctors and nurses in a hospital, whatever, teachers and custodians, wherever, teachers and coaches, wherever there's men and women, you will see sexuality going on.
Or he's like, well, I'll be getting out in like a month. He's like, would you be interested in me contacting you? And right then, that's it. You could be you could get fucked up. She could be like, oh, we're done. Or she could have written you up right then. And she went, she thought about it, and she was like, I'm gonna give you my Facebook name. You can look me up. Here's where I live. And told him.
It's a bold move, but he probably also was handsome. So, the more better you look, the more risk she'll take too.
Her Facebook or whatever it was. And she's like, this whatever 63 or something, you know, and he was like, okay. He's like, man, listen, I've said it in my head over and over and over and over again. And then when he got out, he actually hooked her. They got married. They were married for like fucking 7 or 8 years. It's like they got a couple of kids. They started a business.
But it happens every day. You gotta understand, like, these females are regular people.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, all the drugs that were, like...
No, it's again positive vibes towards women. Did you hear him call women 304? Did you hear him saying that women don't take half your stuff? Did you see him with a big old smile on his face? That's a natural. He was, because he likes them. You know, this 304's modern women talking crap about him. You know, it's not a good look. And champions don't complain. He you know, that's a great thing he's showing. He's not even trying to do it. You know, and look how much better it sounds. They won't cook and clean. They would, and watch what he says here. The women here in the prison will do things for men they like. Women will chase men they like. Women will do things for men they like. So if a woman's not doing things for you, not cooking or cleaning for you, she don't like you. Stop hanging around women that don't like you.
You know, we were knocking down some of the chicks in medical, some of the free staff, some of the teachers. They were bringing us lighters, they're bringing us weed.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
That's what women do when they like you.
But a lot of them don't end up, that relationship doesn't, I'm not saying.
Too often men hang around women that don't have interest in them. That's the problem. Or they're trying to get women that have no interest in them, have interest in them.
Happen, but it's not typical that it
The longevity of it.
that it extends outside of the prison, and then it ends up being like, no, it's a real thing. Like these people get married, they have children, they go on, you know, whether or not they get divorced 5 or 10 years later or not, you know, is irrelevant. The fact is like, it wasn't just she's a prison J-Lo.
Yeah.
But on the street,
Yeah.
I wouldn't have touched her.
Yeah.
No, this was a real thing.
Yeah, and that's how it was with my ex-wife. You know, we had communicated, because what I used to do when I got to prison, mind you, I had got shot when I was 16.
Right.
But whenever I went to prison, I went and talked to medical, and I would say, hey, you know, recently I was shot and I need to get a lower tier chrono.
Right.
You know, that way it's already on file that I'm bottom bunk. I'm not getting sent up to the 3rd tier. I'm not getting sent up to the 5th tier. I'm not going up to the nosebleeds because I got a chrono. And so I saw her sitting there.
Are the bullets still in you?
I have one still in me.
Okay, that's plenty. But the holes in one bullet, that covers it.
And so, you know, that was how I used to go in and get my chronos. You know, I used to go in there and say that. And so I went up to her and talked to her and was like, hey, you know, blah, blah, blah. I ran my little spiel. She went and checked on it. And then, you know, we saw each other in passing a couple times after that. But they ended up transferring me. They came and transpacked me and had me load up all my stuff because I was chipping out in the morning to go to San Quentin. And so I get to San Quentin, and mind you, all of the mail in San Quentin is 2 months, is 30 days behind. And so it's all a month late. And so maybe 2 months in, I get a letter, and it just says Melissa Ford. And so I don't know who it is. And it's like, I read it, and it's like, hey, I don't know if you remember me, you know, but if you have a girl, then I mean no disrespect. And we just started communicating. I was in San Quentin for probably 3 months, and then got shipped to New Folsom State Prison, which was a war zone. It was Gladiator. And I'm very grateful that I even made it out of there that time. Yeah, she came in and picked. Well, really, she was like, what are you doing when you get out?
Does she visit you?
No.
I was gonna say, because that's
Yeah.
kind of dangerous for her job.
Yeah, no. She actually resigned from that job before we really even started. I didn't know that she had resigned right after I had left. Yeah, she came and picked me up from the.
Bingo, women do chase. She not only sent a letter and initiated contact, she came and picked him up. You know, if you can't even get a woman to, you know, take down your number off a dating app and text you, anytime you give a number, she gives her number back, not enough interest. This woman wrote a letter to him, initiated contact, went and picked him up from prison. This is a woman that I had high interest to a man that has no money, relatively no status. You know, money and status is the most important thing, you know, and probably sees them as, you know, and they're married a long time. So, you know, that dual mating strategy, you don't have to be a beta male provider. This guy at this point in his life could not provide anything to her, yet she still wanted him, still chased him. This is the guy you want to be, okay? Focus on your looks. Again, his attitude, he seems very confident. He seems very calm when he talks. He had a very good attitude towards women. He probably was confident and calm when he talked to her. Another key thing real quick, and I'll keep it going because I don't want to make it too long, is you know, he talked to her and she never came on to him. They never, you know, but she probably already thought he was super sexy, you know, whatever, but they never initiated anything. But had he initiated something, she probably would have said yes. So always keep that in mind too. You know, women are not going to approach you oftentimes, but you know, they often think you're really damn sexy, but they're just not approaching you. Just like him, she didn't approach him until he left. You know, but the whole time he was in jail, she probably thought he was super damn sexy. Just because women don't approach you doesn't mean they don't think you're really sexy. So, you know, Law 28, interaction with boldness. Go up and ask, see what's up.
And we got a place together because my parole was in Fairfield, California. And it's in Solano County. And so we got a place together in Solano, but then probably a month in,
She's probably taking care of the bills.
another
Once
8
again,
months.
you know,
Is this a violation?
the bad
Yeah,
boy.
it was a violation.
They like the honest guy, the kind guy, the super stepdad
That's
guy.
not good. You had so many violations you don't remember. That's
No, like I was getting crazy violations. Like one of my violations, I shouldn't bring up all these stories. One of my violations is attempted murder. And it was just a violation. They couldn't get me on the charge, and so they violated me with attempted murder and a stabbing and a whole bunch of shit. Never mind. To be honest, I think that time I got a DUI right before New Year's.
Check this out. Again, he's going to be the outlier. You know, not everybody that, but again, you still should focus on your looks. Maximize your looks max, so whatever you want to say. And it might not be that, you know, you get all this treatment, you know, the woman chasing you down this much, but, you know, you'll have less women, you know, here's my number. And she'll be like, well, here's mine. You can text me. Or I'm not going to drive 5 minutes. Or I don't chase men, blah, blah, blah. You don't need every woman chasing you, and you don't need, you know, a woman like this breaking out of prison. And watch this next story. But he's an outlier, so he's going to get treatment, you know, a lot of guys won't get. You don't need to have his same results. But watch what women do when they like you.
And I didn't tell my parole officer because when we got arrested, I was so honest and just respectful that the lady cop, mind you, my ex was very intoxicated. And was like, let my husband go. You can have the car. We have like a car on 26-inch rims and she's like, take this. She's like, man, you need to back up or you're going to go to jail with him.
right.
And so, yeah, they took me and she was like, listen, you've been so respectful that I'm going to make sure you get out tonight. And I was like, well, I'm on parole, so I'm going to have a parole hold.
Right.
I was like, but I appreciate you. She's like, no. And so I went to jail, and maybe 4 hours later, I went to Santa Rita in the Bay Area. And it was rough because it was like people in there kicking dog food and like really going through it, like withdrawals. And like I got into a fight with this guy who was beating up another guy that was going through withdrawals. And it's like, dude, he's going through withdrawals. You're over here kicking him. They called me maybe 4 hours later. And I walked out of that county jail, that police officer was sitting all the way at the end. And she rolled down the window and she's like, I told you I'd get you out. I was like, damn.
Bingo. Okay. And I think he's being respectful to the police officer chick. And he says, and he might not even realize that he's got handsome privilege, but he says, well, and 22 years of law enforcement, I never saw this happen. But hey, I could see it happening with the chick. Now maybe some of my guys, but anyway, some guys do get in trouble with the ladies. But my point is that female officer came and bailed him out. Now, I think he's being nice. I think she bailed him out, and they went and, I think they went and banged, I think he's being, kind and not putting that out. And again, this is the alpha male behavior, and alpha bang behavior, is that, he's not putting her on blast. And look how he's cloaking it. He's not. A beta male will sit there and go, well, look, and she came, and she wanted my, D so bad, and a beta male will be bragging about this. You see how he's not bragging about it? You see how he said, she got me out because I was so kind and so, you're such a nice guy when I was arrested, so she bailed me out. He didn't say, she came because she wanted my dick, but that's why she came, and that's what she got. Women do chase. Women will definitely chase. Again, if you're not getting chased, if you're, then you're gonna, you're not liked enough. Women chase the guys they like. You have to know that. So if you want to deal with women that don't like you, you'll have a miserable time with women. And those are the guys that say, women don't submit. Women are 304s. Women make you buy them this. Women make you buy them that. I haven't heard this guy buy a woman nothing yet. And they're doing things for him. You got to be this guy.
I didn't say nothing to my parole officer. You got to report that kind of shit within 24 hours, or something like that.
Did you really? Do you think it wasn't gonna?
I didn't care because at that time, I knew I only had maybe 2 more months left on my parole before I was discharging that number.
Right.
I had maxed out. I had given them almost 5 years.
Okay, gonna go ahead a little bit. Gonna talk about when he went viral and stuff, and then not too much longer. Go right here and just go a little bit longer and we'll be done.
I just remember standing at my door and the door pops and I look out my door and they're like, Meeks, Channel 12 wants to visit you. Like, do you want it? And I'm like, sure. And so I go into the visiting thinking it's Channel 12, and it's one of my folks, Ken. And Ken informs me that my mugshot had gone viral, and I never had Facebook or...
Now, once again, the blue eyes, obviously, the lean face, gentlemen, get in shape.
That shit. And so I didn't know what it meant. And so he sat for 10 minutes trying to explain what was happening. So
do you still to this day, do you know that was it somebody took your mugshot?
Oh no,
they sent it to somewhere, or
it was Stockton Police Department. So
they sent it to the
press. They put it on their Facebook page,
and just some reporter saw it and went.
Yeah. So from Stockton Police Department's Facebook page, they put a bunch of our mugshots and some guns and some,
some chick probably saw it on the Facebook page.
And from there,
sent it to other chicks, and he went viral.
Some reporter said,
someone, it just...
Some chick.
It's like a fucking supermodel. Everybody needs a pair of jeans. What I like about the perfect...
Skip this.
It's the $200. But the perfect jeans are... He can't go to prison. He's too pretty to go to prison.
So then, I get out from the visit.
Do you really understand what's happening? Like, he just can't really explain it to me.
No, well, it didn't make sense to me. Because I've never been, I'm like, in the streets. I don't understand fads and social media.
Once again, a lot of these guys, you got to get on social media. You got to get on Instagram. Money, looks, money, status. I know there's a certain content creator that claims you have to, maximize your Instagram page, show you in Brazil, show you in Colombia, show you in France, and all these, the women love beta males. Women, this guy probably hadn't been out of California in his whole life, and women are chasing him down, that lifestyle stuff, social media stuff, all that. Beta males. That's beta male attraction. You want to be alpha bang, like this guy. He knows nothing about it. He's humble. He's a humble guy too, and he talks great about women. Champions don't complain.
And I don't know none of that. I'm like immersed.
Very humble guy.
I'm full blown. All this shit is not real. So then I walk out of that. I walk out from seeing the homie Cam, and I walk into my section, into the pod, into the pod. And when I walk up the stairs, the Crip TV has my mugshot, the stories, the white TV, the Mexican TV, different language. And so I'm walking up the stairs going, oh shit, so this is what he's talking about. So then I go into the cell.
Women love hot guys.
Maybe 15 more minutes. And they pop my door again. And this time it was Channel 12. And so I go into this interview. And they're like, the chief of police said you're a shot caller and you're a kingpin and you're this and that. It's like, none of it made sense. And so I'm like, dude, I don't want to talk about the guns and the violence and the this and that. Like, if you want to talk about something, let's talk about me being a father. Let's talk about me working. Let's talk about me. And so that's all we talked about until the end of the interview when they're fake packing up the cameras. And they're like, so why did you have the gun? And I'm like, oh, well, I'm not knowing this whole time it's recorded.
Oh yeah, come on,
Well, I didn't know.
I know.
I didn't know.
They wait till the very end.
Yeah.
The fucking the to catch it.
Yeah, and so boom, within, I would say on the third day, that's when just floods and floods of letters from all over the world. I was probably getting 300 letters a day.
Floods and floods of letters all over the world. It's just an American thing. I mean, people are going to try to, oh, that's just an American thing. Oh, that's just one girl. Oh, that one girl at the jail who was a loser, the 304. 300 letters a day. That is 2,100 letters a week. That is 8,400 letters a month. And that's a lot of ladies who like hot men. That's a lot of ladies who like sexy men. That's a lot of ladies chasing. Almost 10,000 ladies in 1 month are going after him. Women chase the men they like. Women love hot, sexy men. Don't believe all that BS. They don't.
I have a question. Is it women saying like, "Oh my gosh," because we
Everything.
yeah. Is there? Because I can only imagine because we have average looking guy coming here talking about the letters he's getting from women.
Talking
I can
about,
only
and it was just too much.
yeah.
I'm getting naked pictures. I'm getting money orders.
Women don't like sex. Women don't find their sexuality as powerful agency. Money orders. Women don't pay for stuff. Buy me nails. Buy me this. Again, guys. Now, I do know, I'm not going to flex, but yes, I've dated women that paid a lot of my stuff. Not again, but what I'm talking about is I know the general statement. You don't have to buy women anything. Beta males do. Alpha bangs don't. Okay? Listen, this is a guy telling you the real deal. That's why I'm like, I want men to learn. It's not about flexing. It's not about trying to talk crap about women. It's not about highlighting this guy. It's about showing you women's true behavior. Because too often men are believing what they hear on TikToks. They must buy me this. They must be 6'6". They must 6-pack, 6 foot, 6 inch dude. Must buy me this. If you don't have $100,000 in your pocket, I won't. Look what they're doing here. These are their private faces.
Yeah, I mean, I remember I was locked up. Like I specifically remember sitting in the TV room and they show your picture on whatever it was. It's like Entertainment Tonight or something. They're like,
If women were so logical and rational in who they chose, they need the kind guy. I only date the gentlemen. I've had my fun. I need a man to take care of me now. I just want a companion. I want a man that just will cuddle me and be and do yourself projects with me and be. Beta males will eat that up, but this is all over the news. This shows that it's very popular, and women will do a lot to go after a man they like.
You know,
Now he's an outlier. Don't think that I think that every man will get this kind of treatment. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking in there's a sliding scale. Like you know, if you're not getting a woman to at least call you, you know what I'm saying? She don't have to be paying your bill. But if she's expecting you to pay her bills, look how far behind you are. She won't even buy you a coffee. I mean, women are, come on.
What were some of the names? Like what was it? The names that they gave you? Like,
Oh, there was many monikers. The hot felon,
Hot Felon, yeah.
the sexy convict, the blue-eyed bandit. I don't know.
you gotta come on.
You got like, so I got some Prison Bay, Hot
Prison Bay. Yeah. That was probably the main one. The hot felon in Prison Bay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, you sorry to interrupt. But
No, it was wild though because I was getting too many letters to where I couldn't even read them all. And
Women don't chase. Women chase the men they like. Again, it's maybe not your results, probably won't be your results. But the point is that if she's claiming she needs you to buy stuff, that's the point I'm trying to make. And morality means nothing. Women, just like with men will date strippers, men will date porn stars, and women will try to shame you for that. We don't care about morality. This is sexuality. Sexuality knows no morality. It's about genes. That's genes, fitness. A hot, sexy person means that you have fitness. Okay, it's called fitness. Read the book Evolution of Desire.
I'm passing them down the tier, and now everyone's going, "Hey, this chick just said she sent these pictures. I'm gonna send them down," and like it became this whole thing to where we had, numerous.
Oh no, the girls are good girls. They would never do that. They don't kiss on first dates. Yeah, they don't kiss you on first dates.
Oh, because it was just too many, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Huh.
and so
Too many.
the hate came from the correctional officers. Because it's a state case, and in state, there now can be press in the courtroom. So in the feds, there's no press allowed. But in state, every time I went to the courtroom, there was 100 reporters, and everyone was fighting each other for.
And why are there reporters? Because women are enjoying watching this. There has to be an audience. It ain't men that care. Women love hot guys.
Angles.
Women will chase.
Screaming, and it was like a zoo in there. And like I had been to court 100 times, and it was never like this. I was angry for a very long time, and I had to then come and realize that people are human, and there's a lot of people that carry a lot of trauma and a lot of hate and a lot of
304s took half my stuff. Women suck. I'd rather do prostitutes. That kind of stuff. People carry a lot of hate. He's a champion. He doesn't talk bad about women.
But I was very angry with the correctional officers who, they were beating the shit out of me for a while.
Beta males.
Different shift changes and
beta males. Always the most dangerous man you'll ever meet is a beta male. Those are beta males that probably didn't like the fact that he, on a status of hierarchy, he was a higher status man as far as sexuality with women went, and that is very attacking to a beta male's ego.
This is just jealousy. Yeah, it's just that's where kind of
beta males.
Boil down to.
Yeah, there's a lot that I could say, but it's not going to shed. They already got the light shed on them, and so people know what the cops do and the correctional officers do.
How did it change how the inmates, did it change the way the inmates interacted?
Yeah, you don't seem like you've had an easy go of it up until this point. And does this make it worse or better, or is it?
No, so one thing, I've never once been a victim in prison. I've never been bullied. I've always been the aggressor. And so, like, I never had issues like that in prison. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then even with this, like, because of the way that I conduct myself, no, you know what I'm saying? Like, people who look for issues.
Carries a command presence, probably, dominance, and, self-respect, and loves himself.
I find issues. You know what I'm saying? Like, And so I never got any hate from any inmates because of this. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Well, I mean, Colby's heard me say this 1,000 times. I'm like, if you get stabbed in prison, you had to come.
oh,
like,
you did
something.
Yeah, you deserve it.
And that's in life too.
You deserved it.
Yeah, you talk shit about somebody, you ran
Yep.
up debt,
Yeah.
you did something. Yeah, you did something.
You did
Beta
something.
male.
Happened. And they probably even tried to tell you
For sure.
again.
Yeah, you probably got disciplined once or twice before this.
Right.
And so, yeah.
And that's a prison thing. But let's say when it comes to women, the guys that are talking crap, they've probably been put on notice to change themselves, and they don't. Anybody complaining about anything, not a champion. So don't listen to complainers and negative people.
This, because this is kind of a jealousy thing. Like, I can see the guards being jealous and inmates being jealous, like, why are you getting this attention?
Well, see, that's the whole thing. It was the exact opposite. You know what I'm saying? Like, they were like, fuck yeah, someone fucking finally blew up off this. You know what I'm saying? Like, and so from being in state court, because then I had all the press, then the feds pick up the case.
So the state one gets dropped. And
So the state gets dropped. Feds pick it up. Boom. They take me from San Joaquin County, Stockton County Jail, and ship me to Sacramento County because that's where they had the federal holding facility. That's where you go to court at, state capitol, and stick me on the 8th floor. So first I go to the 7th floor, but then my cellie on my second day.
Okay, so he's going to talk about his cellmate stealing stuff. But again, I'm going to leave it there. But again, what did we learn? Women do chase. There is no morality in sexuality. I need a kind man. I need an honest man. I need those are for the beta males. Those are for women looking for the beta males. Okay. Women will do things for guys, not only for him. He said his other inmates, women were doing things for them too and having sex with them. They have no money, they have no status, and this is not a knock against these guys. I'm just saying, they're alpha males, just like Rollo Tomasi's talked about this too. Through their confidence, their behavior. A lot of times, just like a guy like this, a lot of times prisoners or felons or whatever you want to call it, they have an aloofness. They have I don't give a damn type attitudes. A lot of times beta males who care too much about beta male providers who care too much about money, status, they're wound too tight. They're very anxious people. And they have big egos that and they're insecure and they're wound tight. And women like an aloof type man, a calm man, a confident man, and a lot of times that's who your felons and your criminals are at times. Not saying that they're great people. I'm not condoning criminal activity. But what I am saying is that when it comes to women judging your worth for sexuality, obviously your status as a felon, your status as being married, those things go out the window. If you believe any of these dating app narratives of I need a man has to in with God and does yoga and whatever and is a Republican, and they don't give two damns if you're hot enough, if you're sexy enough. They will chase you. They will do things for you. They will buy things for you. I need this bought for me. I need that bought for me. This right here, this is not. Now he's an extreme case, but again, on levels of degrees of from there's always a spectrum, and so yeah, it might be that she doesn't necessarily buy you things, but she definitely will drive to you all the time. She definitely will chase you. I mean, women chase what they like. Now this guy again, he's a little bit of an outlier, but at the same time, you don't need to be chasing women. You don't need to be buying women's stuff. If women have high interest in you, if they are highly attracted to you, they will chase, they will approach, they will, like this guy busted you out of jail. He didn't bust him out of jail. She picked him up. The police officer bailed him out. I mean, again, I think he was nice about that. I'm pretty sure they probably banged, again, probably a little bit of an outlier case here with this guy. But again, this should be, news to men that, Don't believe those TikTok stories. This is, this is a guy revealing women's private behavior, not their public face, not their TikTok stories. This is women acting in real time, and that's what I'm trying to do on this channel, show you, so what did Socrates say once again? The only, what does it say? Well, I can't remember what it is. Something about basically the way to true wisdom is in knowing I know nothing. It is basically, I don't know everything. So when you start hearing a new way of doing things, until I started dating really heavily, I didn't realize there was a certain way you could talk to women. I started talking to women in a certain way, very sexual, whatever. I was like, damn, they like it. If you would have told me before that, I'd been like, no, we won't let you talk to them like that. Be able to change your paradigm. Even now, I'll, if I find that I'm wrong about something, oh, I didn't know that. It's okay to say you didn't know. I'm not ego invested in stuff. I want to do things that work, and if something works better, then bam, don't have an ego about these things, and champions don't complain. That's another thing. Did you hear him talking bad about women? And, I'm going to end it here, but did you hear him talking bad about women? If you're talking bad about women, if you're complaining about women, if you're complaining about dating, it's a probably you thing, And again, I'm not trying to attack you, but just look inside, look at things you can change in 33 strategies of war. Declare war on yourself first, change yourself, and do what you got to do. Because champions do not complain. If you ever seen, and if someone's winning the Super Bowl or someone's winning, the NBA Finals, and when they're picking up that trophy, you see them go, well, the refs sucked and the fans were screaming too loud. No, they're cheering. Champions don't complain. Just like this man didn't complain about women. So that's all I got for now. We'll see you on the next one.